And welcome back to another Inside Star Citizen. The fam's here. They're saying hello to you. Hey, everybody. Hi. We have had many people waiting. We're going to watch Inside Star Citizen. We're going to talk about the things that we see. Some people that are talking have no idea what Star Citizen is, and we're introducing them to the game. Other people, veterans, been around a long time, grizzly. They got stubble, kind of like old man. And you know what? It's okay. It's okay. We're going to start this out, and we're going to see what is on this episode. How long, you ask? 11 minutes and 30 seconds. This does not qualify usually as a good show just because of the time notations. We know that 15 minutes is the sweet spot, but we're going to give it a chance here. So let's go without further ado. Oh, and congratulations to our arrow winner. Sent you a message, bro. Somebody won an arrow, $75 on the channel. That's what I'm talking about. Super support. Thanks, guys. Let's start the show.
Landing zones. Whether we're talking about the bustling center of industry that is Area 18 on ArcCorp or the Hurston family's base of power in Lorville, landing zones set the tone for life on their respective planets. And on MicroTech, the planet that is farthest from in the Stanton system, work is in progress on a luxurious domed city with open spaces designed to inspire the creativity and productiveness of the people that work there. Now, beginning now and over the next several months, we're going to follow the progress of development on this next landing zone as it makes its journey into the Star Citizen universe. To get things started, let's take a trip now to New Babbage, currently in the white box stage.
Oh. This is what I love. MicroTech coming up, man. I'm excited for another planet in Stanton system. There's a lot of hubbub about a new system in Carrick. We released it on the channel. Everybody's looking forward to more exploration in the game. I think that, 60 to 70% of people have actually opted in for exploration. Thank you, Boba Joker, for the host, my friend. And thank you, Arcane, for that subscription, man. Thanks for that subscribe, man. It supports the channel. Thank you very much. So we're looking forward to MicroTech. Let's hear what we're talking about here.
So today we're going to look at the white box for New Babbage. So here we have the MicroTech Plaza, which is one of the locations that we've been working on now for New Babbage. What we've been focusing on here is kind of making a different kind of interior experience for the PU, where everything is sort of centralized within one big construct.
Now, MicroTech's going to be a planet where it's all about fauna. It's all about growing plants and stuff. Now, some of you guys getting a little bit crazy. Yeah, I know what you're thinking out there. I know what you're thinking. But notice the design. It's very lush. It's kind of like laid back mode.
This is all designed by Fred. Fred dealt with this.
Totally
one, so you have to
it.
Just interject whenever you have some of your
boba.
Sure. Yeah. So for those who don't know, New Babbage is going to be placed on MicroTech, this planet with a very harsh climate. Basically, what MicroTech did was build these domes where tons of light can come in. It has this sort of greenhouse feeling. You can see that also by looking at all these exotic plants they have in here.
Now, it's a planet that gets into like botany, and they grow these plants that are literally like 80-foot tall monster plants, man. Like, these plants are ridiculous. They basically are a kind of a medical planet. So we're getting into like herbs, medicines, botany, greenhouses, that kind of thing. And I'm really looking forward to pair it with the Neuralink that Elon Musk has. Arcane.
So this cylindrical design of the domes lends itself very well to a symmetrical layout with this very prominent structure in the center, which is the flagship store of MicroTech, and other shops and offices placed around it. It's basically two rings.
That's the plan. The plan is, Bannerwolf says, hold on, will we be able to grow plants but not use it for like medical uses? That is the long-term plan, right? It's going to be stages. So eventually what they're going to want is for us to cultivate these plants, and hopefully, because we've been pushing a lot on the channel here, to actually have some type of game mechanic that will in fact create different types of medicines. We're not quite sure that gameplay is in there. It's been talked about, nothing confirmed or unconfirmed yet, like where they're just saying, no, that's not going to be in the game. So we're just waiting for that kind. But that's why I love these shows that we do, because we really like push that type of content on the channel here to get these ideas out so that, you know, if you guys have these ideas, they're important. How many other content creators out there trying to shut people down when new ideas come up and we are in the game design phase? You understand? I'm so tired of seeing that people with these open minds and great imaginations and talking about, hey, let's create some type of medical uses for the plants that are going to be grown here. And then instantly you'll see big content creators and all the minions of them trying to shut people down with their ideas, trying to shut people down with their imaginations. And that bothers me. That literally gets me bad. It's happened to me too, where we just talk about ideas and people come flocking in and say, well, that's not the way it's going to be. Well, they don't know that that's the way it's going to be. I'm so tired of that. Thank you, Adargi. Durgi. Thank you. So I can use my endeavor to grow. Yes, you can. And I can't really say that because I have children upstairs. But yes, that's what we're shooting for. I'll call you Ad or AD. Yes.
Another ring and a second smaller ring right around this central structure, the factory line, this flagship store. And you have these passages that go into each cardinal direction, so you can
it's very chill.
Reach whatever shop or office you want to get to.
Yeah. So when we're whiteboxing this, a lot of the things that we care about are performance is one.
It looks very scientific too. It looks very sterilized. It looks like a hospital. Like, it looks very scientific. It looks like very smart professors and doctors are walking around. Like, it already has that kind of vibe to it, and I'm digging it. Each planet, each area where there are centers of city population, I always love the fact that even within Stanton system, they have quite a varied feel to them, a personality to them. Totally dig it. But will it have space turtles? I don't think so. I'm sorry. But I won't shut you down, Bubba. If you want to fight for space turtles, bro, we're going to fight for space turtles together.
Trying to minimize fluff gameplay space, still make it a sort of interesting location. Because these are all the things that we define now. And if we don't get them right in this stage of development, then later on it's really hard to go back and change that stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, this is still pretty much early days. I mean, this is nowhere final what we're going to look at, but there's already quite a bit of work that has gone into this location. A lot of work that the players usually don't see because it's going on behind the scenes. I mean, at this point, the narrative team, for example, has already written down like what they would expect from a lore point of view from this landing zone. Art department has created concept arts to give visual direction and, you know, define those visual key beats for the landing zone. And also as designers, I mean, we've decided on what we expect from a gameplay point of view from DLZ. And basically all the departments have already come together and locked that part, basically that plan down.
Okay, so that was a look at New Babbage. So with that, thank you, Fred, for coming to my desk to talk about...
Bova, who needs a freelancer when you have a free turtle? Hey, you know, the cool thing is that this is the groundwork for laying about new gameplay. I think this is the process that everybody kind of comes to get used to and doesn't realize the utility in it, right? Like, a lot of us, we get frustrated because it takes so much time to get these things implemented. But what I have seen the past 2 years is this build on infrastructure in regards to just setting up the groundwork, and all the framework is to be added. The most important thing right now in my mind, and I've said this numerous times, is anything server related, where you're talking about OCS or where you're talking about AI. These two things right now are paramount to making this a reality. I've said it a million times, but seeing new places is always refreshing. Like, seeing a new place like MicroTech is very refreshing to me because it's somewhere else we can go. It's an experience that we can all have. And a lot of people will argue and say, well, that's not really playing the game, right? And I get that. I actually get that argument, right? Because it's not like they're adding a new game mechanic, but yet at least it is something new that they're adding in the game, and it's something that you can experience and say, okay, progress is being made, right? So there's two sides of it. There's always going to be two sides of the coin.
New Babbage.
Hey, thank you.
Alpha 3.6 introduced several features that lay the groundwork for enhanced gameplay as Star Citizen's development continues through 3.7 and beyond. And one of the new aspects of ship gameplay recently added were misfires, or the chance for our components to not do what they're supposed to.
Thank you, Highlander Wolf, and welcome to the family, bro. Super awesome. I love when new people join the family. So Boba says, on a serious note, we need parachutes with ejection seats for when we are in atmosphere. Atmospheric flight is getting a little bit better within 3.6. A bit better. Hover mode still kind of, a nuisance to some. Other people, have mastered it quite well. I'm right in that gray spot. I'm right in the middle with the hover mode. But atmospheric flight, the sounds in it, fabulous. It would be kind of cool if you're ejecting and you had some type of parachute. I would think that would be kind of paramount to surviving when in a serious combative situation. If you're in a dogfight with somebody, I would kind of like that too as well, Boba. New Cabbage is looking awesome, Pies. That's a great name, Pies. That's actually a great name. Warp Capable says, I like how the cup is changing back to black. Yeah, dude. I love the new merch, man. Kelly really knocked it out of the park with the new merch, man. Like, it literally goes back to black and you can't even see the logo after, like, it has cooled down. Totally digging the new merch, man. And we're talking within the next month, we're going to have new designs. But anyway, back to the show.
To do when we want them to do it? We asked David and Johnny from the vehicle feature team to shed some light on what can misfire and why this feature, along with others that are coming down the line, can add depth and consequence to gameplay decisions regarding your ships and vehicles.
I'm getting sick.
So in 3.6,
we should have a spin challenge.
Misfires or faults in ships. And we've seen a lot of discussion as to what that is and how that actually works. So we're going to take a little bit of time to sort of clear that up and go into what like a misfire is, right, Johnny? So can you tell us what a misfire is?
Yeah, so as you said, a misfire is a fault in the behavior of an item. It will happen semi-random.
So that gentleman on the right was responsible for flight mechanics, and interestingly enough, Boba says, I am loving the hover VTOL mode. I have a good grip on it now. When you figure it out and it clicks in your brain, it is like, oh shit, this is sweet. So interestingly enough, there is that learning curve and people are starting to click on hover mode, which is interesting. It's actually encouraging to see. I'm seeing that more and more with people playing the game. Myself, I'm still having issues with it. I need to play much more, but I can see an improvement in my flight. And it is kind of cool in a way if you think about it, because you're actually taking time to learn how to fly, So Arcane says, I wonder if they'll make the flight controls compatible with haptic gloves. That'd be awesome to feel the shakes of the plane on the controls. I know people with dual flight sticks with vibration in the flight sticks. I'm not even quite sure if you're feeling it. I don't know if there's an option for that. If you guys do, that'd be great. If you guys have like any comments as to like that, I think that would be fucking amazing. I think Arcane's got something right there. Banner Wolf says VR is going to be great in this game. Abso-fucking-lutely, bro. Abso-fucking-lutely. Darth Tank, what's up, bro? Welcome to the stream. Highlander Wolf says, what do you think about implementing a planet in a visual state like shown as a gray box with a focus on adding the mechanics and then backfilling the artistic work? I think that it's okay for me to see the state that it's in, even though it's in the gray box version, Highlander Wolf, only because I think releasing as much info as is very important and something that they need to focus on, because it keeps people interested in the game. It keeps people coming back to the game, Highlander Wolf. And that's why I focus on a lot of leak information, because I don't think some of these pieces of information should really be set aside for people that have put hundreds, if not thousands of dollars into a game and don't know what the hell's going on. So that's why I release these leak infos at times, because I think it's important to keep people like interested in what is actually happening. I know Chris is really big on secrets and stuff, which I understand. That's cool. You don't want to know every single thing in the game. But at the same time, like when it gets slow, it's nice where you can have like new pieces of info and places to see. So it's kind of a mixed bag, but I don't mind it very much, Wolf. Warp Capable Mammal says the misfires are neat, except when they crank it up 1,000 times for testing. Couldn't even launch my ships. Absolutely agree with you, Warp Capable. Pi says, can't this game just release already? No, cannot, Pies. I feel like you're fun. No, Pies, not yet. We're not there yet. Please. The issues is that they have a ton of artists that don't know how to work on gameplay mechanics. Well, they got different divisions. They've got different departments, right, Tank? We've talked about this a lot, dude. We've actually talked about the intercommunications between the departments on a massive scale on the channel. Like almost every other video I do, I'm talking about the different departments and how it can be streamlined, how to help the process. And, you know, I'm sure they love to hear from me. But like as somebody that continually plays the game and critiques the game and provides commentary for the game and has been with this project for nearly 5 years, I'd like to think I know something about what's going on. And I can see that there are gaps, like in the QA department. We talked about that a few times. We even had a great talk last week. Hey, what's going on? Keto Gamer, welcome to the channel. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the fam, bro. What's up, Pitts? It's good to see you on stream, bro. So, yeah, I mean, like, there's gonna be gaps. We talk about, if you guys are wondering what I'm talking about, go to the YouTube channel and check out some of the videos. We just had a great community event last week where we talked about the process, and it was a very underviewed video, but a very wonderful time I had with the people that were here live on stream with me. I had a really good time with everybody talking about that, because it seems to be like in our community, it's very open-minded and nobody gets shot down or yelled at in our community. If I see people disrespecting one another, I get really upset about that. I don't like that. Like, that's not my style. Like, I like when people are just, if you got different ideas, great. If you can't agree on those ideas, you know, just agree to disagree and make it constructive. Like, that's what I kind of focus on in our community here. So I'm more about that and not just, you know, yelling at people. It just doesn't make sense to do that. That's not productive at all. So anyway, back to this.
Randomly, but it is a consequence of you're playing with the item. So if you've been overheating it too much, or it's just old, the longer that you go without doing anything about it, the more likely it is to misfire and behave differently.
So in 3.6, the way we're going to communicate misfires is through a UI notification on your ship's HUD. We want it to be front and center. Something is happening. You need to do something about that. But there's not a lot of information, right? So we're going to...
Interesting. What do you guys think about that? That's an interesting thing to talk about. What do you guys think about the UI appearing like right in front of you? I'm not quite sure I like that. I'm not quite sure I want it like right in front of me. Not quite sure. I have to experiment with that. What's up, Boba? Thanks for those bits, bro. Thanks for that financial support. Thank you so much. Yeah, it could be more clutter, Wolf. It could be more clutter. I'd like to maybe chime in and maybe put a poll on my YouTube channel about that. Hold on a moment here while I write that down as something that we need to vote on here. What? Hold on one second. I'm just gonna put this so you guys can see what I'm working on right here. What do we think about notifications of comms in the center of our UI HUD slash screen near targeting? Like, it's actually near the targeting reticle. Did you guys see that? I'm not quite sure I like that. Boba says cheeseburgers. It's totally unrelated. You're making me hungry, Boba. I don't like the idea that your ship gets something messed up every few minutes. Yes, it keeps things interesting, but your car doesn't break down every 5 minutes if real life. So why ships so malfunction? I think I get what you're saying there, Tank. I think that maybe you do not like the notification in the center of the screen. I think that having that be a subtle difference between manufacturers would be interesting. Now, that's a great point, Wolf. If in fact the notification comes up for comms in different areas on different ships based upon the manufacturer, now I kind of like that, because then what you're doing is you're creating preferences. Like, some people are going to have different preferences and going to buy the ship based upon the UI. I totally dig that. Let's keep going. In
the future, go a little bit more deeper, right?
Items that misfire or will misfire
Yes,
in 3.6
exactly, Keto,
will be
exactly.
power plants, there'll be shields, thrusters, and coolers will all misfire. And they'll misfire at different levels
That would
as
be
well.
cool,
So
Bubba.
the earliest kind of misfire is just a warning, effectively, like a little indicator on your car dashboard.
It's worth going over why we would want this, right?
Oh, yeah.
The idea is that we want to have some consequence to the long-term, like, misuse of items, right? I think that's pretty appropriate. So in the PU, when you have the ship, you can sort of develop a character to it, because maybe you lean toward using one more item than another, and it gets a little bit rickety because it's been used too much and stuff like that. And that will really help to bring a little bit more personality to the ship and give you consequences to decisions so that it's not obvious what the best decision is.
I get what they're getting
If
at.
your power plant misfires and suddenly has half the capability, and then you have to go and manage the consequences of the misfire as well.
It's worth clarifying that there is like a step to that process, so you can't just get a critical misfire and nowhere, right?
Yeah. So the things that cause misfires will be the heat, the distortion, the degradation, and the damage that go into your item. And so if you've all of a sudden get hit by an EMP, you just go to 100% distortion.
I've gotten hit by an EMP, by the way. It's on the channel. I'll tell you what, get hit by an EMP, even back in the day. I think this was like, what, guys, early 3.0, 3.2. Whenever they initially released the Saber Raven, I remember Nori and I were flying together and we were testing it out. And he took I took my Raven against his, what was it? It was a stealth bomber. And I totally knocked him out, which was wonderful. Then I was flying a Cutlass and somebody had EMP'd me and everything cut out. And that was cool. Like everything shut down. And that was the first time I was EMP'd and I had no idea what the fuck was going on. And it literally was kind of like a freak out moment. If you go to the channel, you guys can see that. It was quite interesting to get EMP'd. So I'm definitely digging those types of EMP mechanics. And I understand what they're going for here. They're basically like alerting the player to very important things that are happening within the ship that coincides with the kind of gameplay that you're going to get into with engineering, with repairing the ship, those types of things. So I get it, but perhaps like different types of locations is all I'm saying. Is like in the UI area to put them in different areas would be good. I remember people camping jump points with EMPs and just kill people over and over. Yeah, it can be well, yeah, and that's a tactic that they're going to have to kind of wonder. I wonder how they're going to lay that out as systems develop, like as more systems come online, Darth Tank, like, because that's going to be something that could be fun if you're a PvP player, but if you're not so PvP oriented and you're getting EMP'd all the time, it almost have to be like, they're going to have to really be serious about how they're going to lay out the security forces in each system. We're in Stanton right now, which has quite a bit of UEE security in the system. They're just introducing the law mechanics now in 3.6. So I think in the outlaw systems, you're going to see more of that, Tank. I think definitely. Yes. Do you remember that? Pies remembered. Pies said, "Shot your engines off." Right? Yeah, that was the episode. That was the video I was talking about. Pies, and it can be annoying, but it also could be fun depending upon what side you're on, as well. EMP should probably be a bit more expensive. It sounds like, yeah. And interestingly enough, the EMP ship that is currently out and flyable is the Saber Raven, which was only available to those people initially at this point that bought the. I think it was what was it, like a Pentium hard drive, and so it was like special edition. You opened up the box and you entered a code and you got the Saber Raven for buying the Intel hard disk. So but I think as the game gets released, you'll be able to get the ship in game with in-game credits. Not quite sure on those types of ships if those will be available to everybody. Not quite sure.
You won't get a critical instantly.
Sure.
There's caveats everywhere all over the system to try and avoid these kind of
CPU. Thank you, Keto. Sorry.
Mechanics like that.
Sorry.
Okay, that sounds really good. The idea, as you can see, is that the system is not unfair.
Tree Lord Snow, welcome to the fam, bro. Thanks for joining us here. I hope you're enjoying the show. I gotta make these alerts a little bit. We're getting a lot more momentum. I'm gonna have to shorten down the alerts, aren't I, guys?
Put a lot of effort into making sure that it's not unfair, and the result will hopefully be system gameplay.
Oh, whoa! True Lord Snow comes in. He says gate bombing is an established tactic in Eve. Yes, I know that because I played Eve for nearly 10 years. So yes, it could be very similar where the low security in systems might be more vulnerable systems to get gate bombed. I think it's a very valid tactic in Eve. I like the way that they set up security statuses in different systems. I think Eve did a nice job at making areas that were safe for PvE players versus players that were more into PvP. I think Eve did a wonderful job by separating out systems based upon security status. I think Star Citizen will likely do the same type of thing without the system security rating in the corner for everyone to see. It's just going to be embedded in the lore, and you're going to realize that in outlaw systems are going to be very similar to nullsec. And in systems like Stanton, for instance, where it's very UEE dominant, you're going to see higher security there because it is that type of system. So you'll just have to get accustomed to how to fly in each system based upon your actual experience with the system, which is pretty cool. That's pretty cool. True Lord Snow goes on and he says the potential of giving a temporary invulnerability to those dropping out of warp, called a phase distortion from the wake, could also help solve this by changing the timing. Yes, very cool. I'm glad to have you on the show, Snow. Wool says, as far as camping jump points go, physical jump gates that are owned and defended by specific corps could mitigate that. We're not quite sure that gameplay is going to be in there. I would like that kind of gameplay in there, Wolf. I know for certain that they're going to have jump gates in the game around stable jump points. And a lot of people say, oh, there's no jump gates in Star Citizen. Well, there are jump gates around stable jump points, also wormholes. And there will be that kind of gameplay. I think that there will be kind of UEE NPC forces around these areas. As we're talking about here, it's good to kind of think about that because it's a game mechanic that I'm pretty certain is going to be instituted once the game gets towards finished state. Heavy Bob says he's grabbing boobies. What's up, Bob? I use a distortion scatter gun S4 on the nose of my 325A with 2 Panther repeaters, putting down his layout. Thank you, Boba. Awesome information. Wolf says you're going to get a lot more notification. All I'm doing is advertising your stream. Thank you, Wolf. Appreciate you. Damon, what's going on? Welcome to the stream, bro. I love Damon. EMPs feel a little too easy for the users at the moment. Absolutely agree, Pies. Absolutely agree with you. It is a bit too easy right now with EMPs, although you do have to get pretty close. You do have to hug up pretty close, but I get what you're saying, Pies. It's kind of just like just push the button and everything goes out around you. So, I'm not quite sure if there should be additional mechanics involved in EMPs, but I do get where you're going with that, dude. Darth Tank says, yeah, system travel will have good security ID. He's speculating right now, obviously, but I do agree with that. I don't know about the sketchier systems. I think in the Outlaw systems, you're going to see that the security is not as thick. Tank. Are EMPs just a cooldown or are they consumable? EMPs in the game at the moment, Arcane, is something that basically will fire back up. Like it's like a timer. And once it charges back up, you can fire it again. Now, over time, yes, I believe that what's going to happen is that it will wear down a component within the ship because they've talked about different components being degradable. So I think that is going to be something that's going to be involved in EMP-style ships, Arcane. Good question. Damon says, question, will jump gates require a water-based lubricant? Oh, you're a bad boy, Damon. Warp capable says there will be EMP missiles, but the Warlock and Raven have generates in them that make a field with cooldowns. Yes. When should we start worrying about the game and things that are still tier 0? When are we going to start seeing solid features actually work that don't get broken each patch? I think that you've seen some type of game mechanics that are working. I think that it's not as much as some of us want to see, though, Bob. I get where you're frustrated at, man. I get where you're coming from. I understand the angle. I'm trying to tell you, most people that watch my stream, that watch my show, it's really important to kind of go about this in 2 layers. Like 1, playing the game and your experiences with the game, and 2, what's happening inside of COD Imperium, financially. It's really important to kind of take those 2 things and put them together for your overall kind of, like speculation on whether you think the game's going to come out or not. So I get where you're coming from, Bob. Let's keep going.
Your ships that is a little bit more consequential.
Thank you, Kelly. Very good work on the
to make that
on the merge, Kelly. Thank you so much.
And, all of your decisions actually matter.
So life in Stanton means navigating the various industrial, commercial, and extra-legal factions that vie for control and influence throughout the star system. And learning who the players are, and what they're after, and why they do the things they do may someday make the difference between prosperous adventure or an unfortunate accident. Let's check in with Dave and Will as they shed some light on the life and lore under the law of Stanton.
Oh, coffee, dude. I'd go for a coffee right now, for sure.
Thank you. Hey, welcome to Turing Stop and another conversation.
that really made me. I need a coffee right now. What do you guys think? While they're talking about this right now, I want you guys to put your experiences so people can read about the law system that's currently implemented in 3.6. For those of you that are playing the game, just right over here and tell us your experiences with the law system and exactly what you feel like. Like, what do you think are your problems? Not just garbage, Bob. You got to put more than that, bro. I know you're angry. I know that's why. That I understand, Bob. You got to put a little bit more than that, man. You got to put why you're upset with the law system. These types of things are important so that people can read, your actual thoughts and your opinions on the current game.
Conversation with the lore team this time about law, the new law system in 3.6 just released. Very exciting. It's our first kind of main crack at establishing the jurisdictions across Stanton's system.
Yep. So we kind of have this new system involved to basically kind of give consequence to some of the sort of outlaw activities. So this is the first time we've been able to kind of create a system around it where you have kind of consequences and for your actions and stuff like that, based off of smuggling and kind of laying the groundwork for what's to come down the road.
And what's really kind of unique and fun about the Star Citizen approach is this idea of jurisdictions that we have, that there's a lot of different layers, right? Like, so the UEE is our main governing body for like legal space, and as you're flying around, it's their laws and guidelines that kind of apply to everything.
Yeah, if you're in a UEE system, like there are sort of basic laws that kind of everybody has to abide by, but the fun thing about it is that all the planets kind of get to tweak the laws a little bit, as long as they're kind of not, outright betraying some of the original laws, can kind of govern themselves the way they want to do it.
Yeah, and that comes down to like our planets having their own security forces, and too, like Hurston has their Hurston security. Yeah. There's Crusader security, and so all these different local police forces enforce the local law, whereas.
So you'll see local security forces around each moon or planet that has any type of major population, and then you'll see like system-wide security forces that are the UEE forces. Of course, right now it's very bare bones. The communication with the NPCs at this particular point, not the greatest, but I see this actually progressing. It seems to me like they're actually still fleshing out some ideas. But I'm glad that they've actually like introduced it at least and put it in the game to this point.
You have the advocacy and the UEE military to enforce the greater law.
Yeah.
And it's real interesting for players flying around. Something that's legal in one world may not be legal on the other worlds and stuff like that.
Yeah, and I mean, again, that factors into sort of our jurisdiction thing with, you compare and contrast kind of like Lorville versus New Babbage on MicroTech. Whereas Lorville is obviously much more kind of like maniacal Iron Fist type control. New Babbage is a little bit laxer on some of their laws because, again, that sort of Silicon Valley thing where it's a lot of innovation and creativity and technological development, but has kind of a big party scene. So like they're a little bit laxer about the drugs as opposed to like on Hurston. So you might not get as much trouble for running drugs in New Babbage than you would in Lorville.
And you can kind of go into the journals right now and read about the full jurisdiction and what they apply as, and you fly into that system. And we're hoping down the road to, move that into its own separate.
It's just like, it's interesting. Like, what are they like? This is like coffee chat at Cloud Imperium Games. Like they're literally walking down. Like I'm realizing now as I'm watching this, I'm thinking to myself, like, what is going on here? Like these two guys are just like, okay, this is what we're gonna do inside this episode of Inside Star Citizen. We're gonna get this camera. We're gonna back it up. Now I want you guys to walk down this hallway. I want you to be serious and talk about the different law interactions that you have or that you want to have in the game. Now, I want you also to hold your coffees just like this. Okay. Now when you just don't sip the coffee. When you're walking down this hallway, I just want to make sure, do we have the coffee in the shot? Do we have the coffee in the shot? Coffee talk.
Perhaps possibly give players a lot more information so that maybe you'll be able to check out the laws of where you're going without having to go there first. And all that kind of steps in.
And the fun thing too, hopefully, once we kind of can get into it a little bit more, is like one of the things I remember we'd always joked about was the fun thing that, Hurston cracks down so much that like, something as arbitrary as like blue jeans could be illegal on Hurston because they don't want you to basically buy anything they're not selling. So there's a lot of.
I don't know about that. That might be getting a little bit overboard. Like if we're going to get down to like fashion police dudes, I don't know. Like I think that might not be the best idea, guys. I think we need to back up the coffee truck and just be like, let's not start doing that. Although, hey, there might be a planet where you can't wear pants. Now, If there is a planet where you can't wear pants, I'm down with that. I feel like that's where I need to go.
A lot of room, obviously, for us to develop it down the road as we get into more planets and more systems and more tech, basically.
So that's a brief look at the lore behind the law, except the other way around. And I think that does about it.
We're behind the law.
Oh.
Hey, we're good.
Thanks so much.
Wrapping it up.
So fun fact, I'm not allowed to touch the coffee machine. So what we learned this week? We learned that landing zones begin their journeys in white box in much the same way our ships and vehicles do. That in game design, sometimes you want a thing to not work when needed to balance out the overclocking and abuse of components. And for life in the Stanton system, it's becoming just as important to consider how you interact with its NPCs as it already is with other players. To our subscribers, don't forget to check out July's issue of Jump Point magazine with a first look at some of the work being done on our new procedural space station interiors. And to everyone in the Star Citizen community, our continuing thanks for making all of this possible. We'll see you next week.
All right, and I will share that with you guys on the YouTube channel. I'll look into mine because I'm subscribed, so I will go ahead and check that out, and then I'll post some content on the interiors, which, interestingly enough, do not match the exteriors. You know, I know this was separated in 3.6 into 3.7, like the exteriors from the interiors, but like what was interesting to me is that the outsides are procedurally generated. It's interesting that the geometry or the physics of it doesn't match as you're inside. Like, I still don't get that. I haven't had anybody explain that to me yet, why the insides don't match the outsides. But anyhow, thanks everybody for being here on the stream. We had a really fun episode. Go check out the YouTube channel. Thanks for